That's it. It's still on. So perhaps you want to get more informed as an investor in Nigeria. Now let's talk about those issues, especially Dangote, PMS, very hot issues. And we're doing that with Dumebi Oluwole, a senior associate with financial derivatives company. Hi, Dumebi. Been a while. Good to see you.
Yes, it has. Good morning. Good to see you too, Amy.
So you come with good news. Dangote is going to be getting 400,000 barrels per day crude from NNPCL. Does this mean security for us, at least for PMS, which seems to be the most basic and needed petroleum product in the country?
Yeah, to an extent, yes, it does. What this will do for the Dangote refineries, to an extent, reduce their costs. Because this is not going to be given to them in US dollars, so they will be getting
but it's in Naira, but it's
yes.
still in the predominant exchange rate. It's not like there's anybody subsidizing anything.
Yes, but the important thing here is, number one, when you consider the shipping cost from bringing it overseas into Nigeria, that cost is significantly reduced. There's also the exchange rate impact of, for instance, getting it at 1,580 Naira to a dollar, just using that example now, compared to a blended rate of 1,700 and then 1,580, that's to an extent reduces the exchange rate margin as well that the Dangote refinery would have incurred on getting the crude, externally or importing it. So what this does to an extent, it just shields them from external shocks that could have affected their cost of production, also from the exchange rate as well. The important thing here is that, number one, Dangote now has access to crude on a sustainable basis that would allow them.
For 2 months.
Well, this is 2 months of production compared to what we're getting, what they were getting earlier, which was almost nothing, right? So this is a crucial point, and the expectation is that this will be sustained.
But this doesn't translate to cheaper petrol at the pump.
To an extent, yes. So the reason why we're saying, well, I was going to get there, but basically what this means is that they're able to produce sustainably. At least their production will continue, and they'll continue to supply. And the other aspect, or the other domino to also consider now, is that other independent marketers will now also have access to get petroleum from the Dangote refinery, even though it doesn't translate to cheaper prices for now, simply because we're in a new exchange rate regime. Production is just coming up. Dangote will obviously have to recoup its costs, and then there's also a significant change in petroleum prices. It doesn't necessarily mean that prices are going to drop significantly, but what it does mean is that the price differentiation margin between what NNPC will be selling and what other independent markets will be selling will narrow. So for instance, we have at the pump price for NNPC going about 867 to in some places you have 900, but in other independent markets you see some sellers even going for as high as 1,000 Naira per liter. So that margin will be breached to an extent, because now they're getting from the Dangote refinery, and this doesn't mean
goodbye to subsidy.
Well, to an extent, yes, it does mean goodbye to subsidy.
Because
but again,
if the
what is happening
now? To be getting direct from Dangote, I don't think there's a government intervention there. Perhaps there's a government intervention when the NNPC gets from Dangote.
Yes, because when you think of it like any normal business that has like a large wholesaler coming to buy from them, and you have other smaller retailers and other smaller sellers coming to buy from them. So what it means is that the NNPC most likely would get at a discount rate, because they are going to purchase a lot more, and which is normal. It happens in a lot of businesses, while other independent marketers might not be able to get at that same discounted price. So that's why I said, in terms of pricing, the price differentiation will be there, but the margin will narrow. It doesn't necessarily mean that price of petrol is going to significantly come down. What it does mean for consumers is that there will be supply at the pumps for people to actually get crude. In essence, we should not be seeing significant queues at filling stations.
Except at NNPC, because everybody wants something cheaper.
Will want to get,
exactly.
Of course, and that's normal.
But there's also the fear of monopoly. That was also one of the issues around, because if everybody is going to Dangote now, I'm thinking of the infrastructure, the logistics, to get it from Dangote to the whole of Nigeria. Doesn't that pose another kind of risk?
Yes, it does. So the logistics issue, which is extremely important to at least make sure that the price is actually sustainable. And what this definitely calls for is an increase in investments towards infrastructure leading up to the Dangote refinery, and ensuring that also the transportation of petroleum from the Dangote refinery to other states, or even in Lagos alone, that infrastructure is also built. And we do know that there's a lot of pipes, and even like the rail station. This lies on the government. There's no other definition, so there's no other answer to it. So there is that call for that to happen. Then in terms of the monopoly risk, there is that risk as well, because if everybody is buying from one person, it does mean that there's one buyer and many sellers, and that risk is definitely there. And what this also calls for is an increased investment or increased timeline for the government to ensure that their other refineries are also working. All the defunct modular refineries, the Port Harcourt refinery, the investments that have been pumped into those resources need to start benefiting the entire economy, so that marketers have diverse suppliers that they can get petroleum resources from.
What does this mean to commodities prices?
So for now, what this means is that commodities prices relatively might not necessarily change, because there is that pass-through effect and the time lag between when independent marketers will get those resources and when it begins to translate to reduced logistics costs, and then reduced transportation costs, and then reduced commodity prices. So the pass-through effect is definitely going to take a while. So if this is happening for 2 months,
it won't take a while.
We've always seen that price stickiness with Nigeria economy. It is, and to be very fair, it's not something that is very far-fetched when you look at other developing markets. That price transmission mechanism is always very interesting to watch, where when there's an increase in cost, prices increase significantly, and when there's a decline in cost, it takes a longer time. Yes, and the lag we've seen, at least from the IMF estimates and even from our own estimates, we've seen that the time lag between when prices decline and when they eventually translate to lower prices are about 3 to 6 months, in some extent 6 to 12 months.
And anything can happen at that time.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But by just looking at it on face value, these are the initial implications that we do expect.
All right, maybe we'll have to stop there. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll take this conversation further.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, great. Let's take a break now. When we come back, well, all of this boils down to who's doing business. Perhaps we need more entrepreneurs in the country. Can we afford more entrepreneurs? We'll have that conversation after the break. Just stay with us.